All right, so thanks for being here, and thank you mostly for entrusting us with your kids. We are excited to go to New Orleans, and we're excited to make this adventure happen. And in order to do that, we need some partnership and just generalized understanding, and we want to answer any questions that might come up. This is a slightly different trip than in years past where we've done like a servant work and a mission trip. This functions in a different way altogether, but we will be doing all of that stuff. And so this is the draft that I sent you on the email. This is the same that I have here. There are a few things that might change, but this is a pretty good idea of what's going to happen as we gather on this time. So let us begin with prayer. Good and gracious God, we give you thanks on this day for the beauty that comes in it and the ways that we continue to see you. Lord, we pray that you continue to lead, guide, and be with all those who are planning and preparing for the National Youth Gathering. We pray that as we ourselves plan and prepare, that you continue to open up ways that we can be fruitful and helpful towards those who are around us. Lord, bless us now in this meeting. Send your Spirit to be with us and continue to gather and love and care for us as we navigate this summer. Also pray in your most holy and heavenly name. Amen. All right, so just a 50,000 foot overview. We'll be leaving from here on Sunday the 14th, heading to Atlanta. We'll be there for a few days and then to New Orleans for a few days. We'll stop at the beach on the way there. Then on the way home, we have to book it back because the way the timing worked, we'll be in Nashville, hopefully, for the night. And then here, hopefully, Sunday the 21st around 5 o'clock. Of course, we don't know exact times, but that's what our hope is at this point in time. Okay, so that's the big overview, and now let's walk through it. We are getting 2 vans, so we'll have 2 vans to go down there in. One of those vans will be more of a luggage van, but we'll have some space. And then mostly the second van is a people van, right? So this gives the opportunity for those who don't want to be around people the whole time. They could be in the luggage van for a little while. That may be a more popular spot, right, than the people van. The people van will just have people. So we're not going to put luggage in that. And we have 3 chaperones. So we will rotate the driving amongst all 3 of us as we navigate it down. We are going to leave on Sunday right after worship service. I'm still working with Enterprise Car Rental to figure out exactly how we can get the vans and what works the best. And so we might do it differently, but it doesn't really matter. All we have to do is get from here to Atlanta. There's really nothing waiting for us. Our host site is just going to be there. It's actually the church that I previously served is where we're going to be staying. So I know the code to get into the building, right? Like, unless they've changed all the locks, I know where all the hidden keys are. So this will be a great opportunity. We're going to, on the way down, we're going to stop at the best rest area or gas station of all time. You know it as Buc-ee's, right? And so we'll have a little time at Buc-ee's. If you haven't experienced it, this is a great opportunity for our kids too. They're gonna grab something to eat for the trip. There's lots of different opportunities for them to get all different kinds of food in Buc-ee's. Plus, just hopefully we can take our picture with the dressed up Buc-ee. And we'll be there that first night. We're gonna keep it simple. We'll arrive. We'll set up our air mattresses, pillows. And basically we'll go to bed that first night. That's Sunday. Monday we'll wake up. I tried to work with 3 sites, and if anyone else has a connection in Atlanta, I would love it. I've working with 3 different service projects down there. One was closed, one was already had a group, and one didn't take anyone under 16, and so that eliminates our group. And so it became more and more challenging to find someone close by. We're in the Cobb County area, if you know Atlanta, that we could do service work with. So in lieu of doing the service work outside, we'll ask the church if they need any help cleaning, organizing. They have a little trail right by the church there. Maybe we'll pick up the trail. We'll do a little bit of service work with the church. And then we're going to go down to Martin Luther King Center. If you haven't been to Atlanta, down there is his dad's church, and also where MLK Jr., his body is laid to rest there. There's a site, and then there's a national spot, kind of a national park, I would guess. I don't know what its designation is, but and then so Ebenezer, there's the King Center, and then the National Forest Service, or whatever it is, has a park there. We're gonna go take that in, go look at all those sites and think more deeply about the justice issues that come with that. And then our hope after that, we're gonna go out to eat somewhere between there and Centennial Park. That's where the Olympics in '96, that's where the big entry was. There, if you've been to Atlanta, that's where the eye is. Then right off of that, we have the World of Coke. And so we're going to go take in the World of Coke, which the best part of the World of Coke by far is at the very end, you get to try all of the Coke products of the world. So we'll give them type 2 diabetes for a good couple hours as they get to try. They'll overindulge. I keep telling people, little sips. You can have as much as you want, but like little bits. Like, don't try to drink a full glass of all these different kinds.
And brush your teeth.
And then afterwards we'll brush teeth. Yes. And there's always, if you've been there, there's always the challenge of if you like or don't like Beverly, which is a Italian soda water kind of thing. And it's kind of like cilantro. Either people think it tastes like soap or they think it's really great. And there's very few that are like, oh, that's okay. So we'll do some team building at the World of Coke. And then we had a buddy of mine is hosting us for supper. We're gonna have barbecue and at their house. They have like 5 or 6 showers in their house, so they're opening it up for anybody who would want to shower that night. They can feel free to do that. And so we might also go to their pool. I don't know. That's not been. He's coming up for the 4th, and so we're gonna hammer that out then. But anyway, that's the 15th. The 16th, then we'll leave very early in the morning. That will help us to determine how much beach time we get. We're gonna head down to Alabama, Dauphin Island. If you're not familiar with it, it's a pretty island, really neat water. Basically, we're gonna try to arrive there around lunchtime, have lunch on the beach. We'll bring it, we'll pack it, and we'll eat lunch. Breakfast will be in the van type of thing. We'll eat lunch as we go, and then we'll head into New Orleans. The only thing that happens on Tuesday is the mass gathering happens that night. So all we have to do is get there in time to register and get to the mass gathering, which starts at 7:30. Just a note, if you've heard in the past me say that the gatherings were going to happen in the Superdome, that's gotten changed. So our numbers are low this year, about maybe half as many as years past. That comes from COVID. Also, my honest sense is I think that this whole idea of National Youth Gathering is shifting. It used to be where you would go to know that there were lots of Lutherans out there and other people who were worshiping. I think people already know that now due to social media and all sorts of other ways. So they're less likely to go. I also think the price is rather high. It's about almost 2.5 times what we pay for a normal mission trip is what we have to cover this, because we're doing hotels and we're eating out, and that just right there inflates the cost. So we'll be doing that. We'll be staying at the Hampton Inn on the back page. You'll see we'll be staying in the Hampton Inn. It's right across from the convention center. Perfect location, right? Great location. We couldn't have asked for. You get assigned hotels. We couldn't ask for a better hotel. It's right where we want to be. And so we're lucky. That's where we'll be spending time. I believe there's a pool at the hotel. Also, the hotel provides breakfast, which isn't the case at every hotel. Yet you all pay the exact same price. So good news for us is that we got a hotel with breakfast. So we'll be there. We'll be at the Hampton Inn and Suites and do that. Then we'll do community life. There's 3 or 4 spots for community life throughout the different hotels, the big hotels. And those are kind of like fun opportunities. One's more like reflective, like you have the opportunity to be a little bit more quiet. One's like bounce houses everywhere. That's not as reflective and quiet. And I think one is like more like trivia games and like that sort of evening kind of imagine nightlife type of events for teens, right? And so those will be out there. We will sort out the groups based off of size. We do not want kids to be in groups of 2s or 3s at 11 o'clock at night in New Orleans. And so even with one adult. So we may not get to go to just split into 3. We had initially thought about doing one of us takes each of the sites and you just show up and at the end of the night find the leader and we all walk back. Problem is that could be not as good. If we have 2 or 3 kids and an adult leader, that may not be a big enough group to feel safe walking in the streets at night. And so we're gonna navigate that where we're gonna give a couple options, you know, and then come back. So and then the next day, the Wednesday, this is our service work. And so if you flip to the next page, you'll notice there's a serving in New Orleans, SBP New Orleans. If you want to look it up, they do service projects and relief work. Basically, we're doing some light construction work. We weren't able to connect with them. We just learned this on Thursday of last week. We weren't able to connect with them on Thursday. So I don't know exactly what to do there, but be aware that we are trying to get in connection with them so that we know, like, do we need painting clothes? Do we need, like, what do we all need? We know we need closed-toed shoes, but that's not helpful ultimately of kind of figuring out what we need to bring. And then we'll do that from 9 till noon. And then we're gonna boot scoot back down to the hotel. We'll change and we'll head off on a historic riverboat cruise. That includes lunch. It's like a buffet lunch of all different kinds of New Orleans food. You go down the Mississippi in the Creole Queen, and then you stop at a fort, I believe, and you have a little time to walk around there, and then come back on the Creole Queen. And so, good opportunity to get on the water of Mississippi and kind of see a little bit more of the area surrounding, kind of something fun to do. We'll be back in time then to get back up to the mass gathering, community life. You can see these things are oriented towards late in the evenings, right? So that's when they're all awake. So we'll do it that way. The next day is the Synod Day. And so we'll start with scavenger hunt. That will be in the French Quarter. So that's our opportunity to be down that way. This is when they will need $5 in cold hard US American dollars. So we'll talk about money in a little bit, but Cafe Du Monde only accepts cash, right? And you can't use a credit card there. They don't take Venmo. So would suggest that you say this is your $5 bill for Cafe Du Monde, right? And that will cover a set of beignets and a drink. And so the idea around that is that they have it. If for some reason they lose their cash, we'll of course help them figure it out. But it'd be good to have some actual physical dollars set aside. This is your money for that, so that because you may choose to do money different ways, but they do need cash for this. And if they don't want beignets, God bless them. That's fine by me. I don't care. But it is kind of a cultural thing, and they will guaranteed be asked if they come back on. Did you have beignets, right? And how much powdered sugar did you inhale as you ate them? Because I swear they go through more powdered sugar there than anywhere else. So we'll do that in the morning. Synod worships in the afternoon. And we'll try to put some downtime as we navigate through that mass gathering community life. That's kind of how the day goes. It seems a little bit more open. What they had problems in the past is when they scheduled really tight, they found that a lot of kids got sick. And so they opened this one up a little bit more to allow free time. Might not surprise you, not every kid feels comfortable going to the bathroom with other kids in the room. And so we'll try to navigate how we do that. finding spaces that they can go to the bathroom, making sure that we have, hey, you two are in there now, and then, we'll switch out, like, so that it's a little bit more private. They can have a little bit more space. And luckily we're right next to the convention center where all the activities going. So we might just do it that way, or there's a lot of bathrooms there, that sort of thing. Hydration is of course a big one. But so they intentionally wanted to build in more breaks during the day so that we could see if we could see that kind of diminish. Next day, we have the Interactive Learning Center. This is something that's been developed over many, many years. So the kids will learn about poverty. They're going to learn about water inequity. They're going to learn about all sorts of, if you imagine an organization that supports a justice issue, they are in this building. So the whole convention center is full. And basically everything is meant to be an interactive learning. So they grow and they learn their awareness about kind of whatever they want to. There's disabilities, there's, kind of the global issues, there's domestic issues. I mean, basically it's kind of choose your own adventure, but challenge yourself in different ways. And there's a zip line, and there's, they do some other fun things to kind of do that. But it says from 10 to 4, that we'll spend a lot of time there. It's very big, it's very well done. It's a great opportunity for our kids to grow and learn. And we've actually talked about how do we do a debrief between that, and so we might go get snowballs in between. If you don't know what a snowball, it's not the same as chipped ice or shaved ice like cone ice. Snowballs are different. They are from a Snow Wizard machine, and the snow is like really fluffy. You can imagine that, like really fluffy snow. And then they have syrups and stuff like that. That really is the New Orleans tradition. Snowballs, if you've ever been to New Orleans, snowballs are really the thing around New Orleans. And there's little like snowball places, like in your neighborhood, you'd have a little snowball place. There's lots of them everywhere around New Orleans. So we might go out and get Hanson's, which is probably the most popular one. If you ever see the New Orleans Saints, I'm sure you all follow them. They go to snowballs at Hanson's every year. That's where we might go to. So that's that day to try to do that. That will be something to think more about when they come back. Tell me more about what the Interactive Learning Center was like, because they've probably encountered something that they're thinking more deeply about, or they were naturally gravitated. This could be a good awareness raiser for you. Where's your kid? What kind of justice issues? What kind of world topics? What kind of things do they naturally self-select into? Could be a good insight into your own kids and where they are going. And maybe that might be what you already know, and it might be something different. So just a good place for that. And then we have closing worship and on our way home. There's no easy way to come home. And so we were hoping to do a beach day, but we don't have the time to do that, to cycle around that way. And so we're going to go up. Right now, I have a call in to Franklin, Tennessee, which is just south of Nashville. We're going to stay at a big church there. Hopefully they have worship at 8:30. We'll wake up, we'll worship with them. We'll get on the road. We'll stop somewhere just outside Louisville, and we'll stop again for a bathroom outside of Cincinnati, and then we'll be home. My goal is only to do 2 stops on that Sunday, God willing, the creek don't rise, but who knows, right? And so want to look for that one, and we'll arrive here. We'll let you know. Phones are allowed, right? But so we'll kind of let you know as we navigate around. All right, that's just the schedule. We got more to cover, but I wanted to stop here and see if anybody has questions about the schedule.
What's the final 15?
Final 15 is like a nightly debrief. Like, tell us what's something that you will want to think more deeply about. Tell us what's something that you found funny. Tell us, those types of questions.
You appear to have room in the luggage van. Are you taking orders for beignets?
They probably won't make it. The smell will overcome us. But you could send a little money and get the beignet mix straight from Cafe Du Monde, or order it online, because you can do that for everything now. So, all right, so that's our
Tuesday at the beach,
Yeah.
So they're gonna bring lunch to the beach,
Yep,
so, but it's in green, so that means you'll stop somewhere, the kids will get their own food and bring it to the beach.
no, so we're still adapting the meal calendar, right? Well, we'll probably do is, what I've done in the past is, we will at some point in time on Monday go to, there's a Publix, a Kroger, and a Target that are really close. We'll go to one of them and we'll say, get your breakfast and then tell me what kind of sandwiches you guys like to eat. And we'll get all of that stuff and we will just ring it all up and we'll buy it. And then they will eat it in there. So we'll purchase it as a church and then but they have to be able to figure out what they want to eat, what they want to drink. We always grab one of the PB&J things anyway. So then several loaves of bread and they're pretty good, chips. Yeah, we'll get to food though in a bit.
How much total money? would
We'll
you
get
say
to
we
that.
need?
We'll get to that. Yep. Any questions on schedule? Okay. Packing. This is the most challenging space. So if you've been to New Orleans, it feels like it is outside yesterday and today, right? It's warm and it's humid, right? But the coldest place on earth is Houston in July, right? Because if you go inside anywhere, the air conditioning is so cold, right? And so we have to figure out how are we gonna navigate this with kids going in and out of these buildings. And they will be in spaces where they're gonna be too cold. And then they're gonna be, but you know your kids, some kids get cold, some kids, they just chameleon to whatever temperature it is. They don't have a problem. So when you're doing your packing, think that through. That's one of the challenges that you'll have. You don't want to pack too many warm clothes or stuff like that. You'd want to pack things that they can throw on really quickly. That's really what you want as you navigate that climate. So yeah, so think about that. It's going to be hot. Yeah.
Should there be like a backpack that they can take from the hotel that can go into, I forgot the name of the place.
Smoothie King.
Smoothie King, that, and then the backpack, maybe a hoodie
Yep.
or X.
Yep, and just a note, if you look on the packing list, if you're going to Smoothie King, it's gotta be a clear backpack bag policy. And there are guidelines around that. If you don't wanna worry about the guidelines and just wanna find a bag, there's a store called Old Lutheran. And they have created, I don't know, 4 or 5 different styles of bags that are clear that meet the requirements. So if you wanna like not worry about, otherwise Amazon has all these clear bags. So find the one that would fit best for you. If it's a backpack, if it's a messenger bag, if it's just a purse, something along those lines. So they have to do, just for the Smoothie King Center, if they're gonna bring it in there, then they have to have it in that clear bag policy, like every major sporting event, I think now.
So they could also opt not to have that.
They can opt not to bring anything except for their water bottle will be theirs. And so today you'll see our gift to them is a water bottle. It's a clear water bottle. And then when they come up, ask them to show you their sticker. Vicar Jenny and Kaylee and I looked at a whole different bunch of stickers. So everyone has a unique sticker on there that we think match them as best we could. And then we're gonna encourage them to also grab other stickers to kind of go onto the water bottle to remember the times. They might have a Buc-ee's sticker on there. They might have a King Center sticker on there. They might, that way when they're done, they can say, this is my whole tour, right? As they look around it. So it's a fun way to remember this trip. Plus, they all have water bottles now. Good, sturdy, strong water bottles that fill up a lot of water and that they can have with them. So they'll have that. They will need to bring their water bottle. That'll be one thing that I'm gonna ask them to have with them all the time. So there's that. So also swimsuits, we will need those at the beach and at the hotel pool. So if you want to bring those along, otherwise, you know, the packing list has all the things, and so pack as much as you want. You're whittled down to just one bag, right? We're all gonna still put them all in just one bag. Should be okay. We don't need to have multiple. This is not a fashion show. They're going over that downstairs. So we don't need a night outfit and a morning outfit and a work outfit and a workout outfit in the same day. This is still we're not going on show. And so pick an outfit, have a couple extras. You never know what happens, right? But they don't need multiple outfits for the same day.
Is it easier for their stuff to be in a duffel bag, or is a small, we'll call it a carry-on size rolling?
Yep, either one,
Okay.
because this is a little less, we have more space having two vans.
Okay.
So we should have plenty of room for all the luggage.
Okay.
So, yep.
So
we
just keep it to one bag, whether duffel or.
Right, yep. Yep, and what I recommend oftentimes, and not everybody follows this, you do what's best for you guys, but the outfit rolls, where you just have a pants and an underwear and a shirt, and you roll it all up, and they just have to find that one roll. This is like your roll. We're not doing matching colors, like I know some churches do. This is yellow day, everybody wears yellow. But we would ask if they have their green Prince of Peace shirt, and if you don't have one, I'll get you one. So make sure it fits. Because we probably will do a green Prince of Peace time where we take a group photo in it. So if they don't have it yet, check. If it doesn't fit, let me know. We have plenty here. If we don't have plenty, we'll get a new one. But the green one, they should have that. So that's packing stuff. Any questions? We'll get to money next, but just close.
The twin blow up
Yeah.
air mattress, can they just use like a camping?
They can use camping pads, they can use anything
Just
that
for
they
the nights
want.
when they're sleeping in the church, like,
They're-
yeah.
Are sleeping on floor like this twice, right? And then some kids choose to bring it in because they don't want to sleep in a bed with another kid, which is fine. Then they have to find a way to, put a space down there. And oftentimes then they can switch back and forth but kids make those decisions as they want to. We have kids in kids' rooms and adults in adult rooms. We did not mix this year. That is allowed, but I just didn't feel comfortable doing that. I don't want anything, I want that to be.
It's 4 per room and it's 2 queen beds.
It is, yep. Yes, and so, yeah, that's how it breaks in. There's one room, I think, that only has 3, but other than that,
And they're allowed to carry like Tylenol or
Yep.
allergy medicine with them.
Yep.
Checking in.
yes, you can have all that stuff. If you think it's a problem, we can dispense it. If you think that they can handle it, they're more than willing to keep their own meds. But again, if you think it's a problem, we can keep it in our rooms and they can get it whenever they need it. But we'll just keep it in our rooms. And do it that way. Packing, anything else on packing?
Quick question.
Yeah.
It says no metal bottles, so things like this.
Right.
No.
Yeah, they don't want those. People tend to do not smart things, and if they huck those things and they can't see through them, and they're just more attentive to all that stuff now, so.
Oh, actually, I did have a question.
Yeah.
So Stella picked out like a crossbody little pouch thing, because they've been drilling into the pickpockets and
Yep.
danger. Does she need something bigger, like more backpack size, or is that gonna be, as long as she can carry her water bottle and her phone, that's pretty much all she needs?
Every kid is gonna be different. And that's all I want. I want you to work with your kid to figure out exactly what they need, what you think that they'll need. We will have plenty of time to get back and forth. And our hotel, the furthest distance will be from our hotel is a half an hour. That's when we go to Smoothie King. We'll take the bus probably there and we'll walk back because there'd be a million people getting out. It's like a rock concert releasing all at the same time. Faster to actually walk back than to get on the bus shuttles and come back. So whatever they will need for that, that's a good point around shoes though, just, comfortable shoes. This again, fashion friendly is great. Comfortable is gonna be your best bet, right? So on that.
Any factor goes into that center has to be clear, right?
The packs, everything has to be clear. It's a clear bag policy. So all bags so like crossbodies, they have to be clear.
Even this, because this says a feminine bag not cleared 4x6.
Yeah, that is the only thing that they got
That's
through.
because those little crossbodies that they don't carry now, then they're fine,
Okay.
right? No, I'm asking.
Yeah, I know that became an issue around whether they could get them in. I think what they mean though is just like a little like inserting bag.
Like a little
From-
pouch that they can-
From the conversations that I've heard, that's what
Okay.
how I've understood it to be, is that became, as soon as they went clear bag policy, that was like the first thing that rocketed through the Facebook
If anybody
comments.
gets a Ipsy subscription things, those little pouches, they're
Yeah.
kind of the perfect size. I had a friend give me a stack. So if anybody needs a little zipper bag,
There you go.
we got.
So that's for the convention center,
No, that is for the Smoothie King Center.
for the Smoothie King Center.
Yep.
Is that, would you discourage a see-through bag when they're like walking around the French quarters? That doesn't attract
Right, that's-
attention or?
That was my
So
question.
when they do these big, knowing New Orleans, that they're bringing in a big group and a big youth group, they will up the amount of people that are downtown. And those folks know who picks pockets and things along those. These aren't unknown. Like, it's not like somebody just walks down there and starts picking people's pockets. It tends to be more and more of a known, right? And that what I know about these is that there's an enhanced security protocols that happen, especially when they know the kids will be there. And you can get pickpocketed anywhere at any time, but I don't, you make your call on that one, but I think you'll be as safe with a clear bag as you are without a clear bag. Tends to be, people who are on their own, right? People who are, you oftentimes get pickpocketed when you're busy, you're not paying attention because they can function in those spaces. So we'll just encourage our kids to be aware. We'll be in groups. It'll be fine. It really will be. That gets us to money though, right? So here's the thing, we will need to have, one of the ways that we offset being a bigger group, we're about 18 of us. If we were to go into all these places, it would take us a long time. And so in order to get around the time frame stuff, we're gonna be using food trucks in the evening. There's in Champion Square, there'll be a food trucks. And also in Smoothie Center, they're opening all their concessions. And then there's food courts that are located real close to the convention center there in the mall. And so to get around having to sit down and do that every time, which takes a long time if you've ever traveled in a group that size, we will be utilizing that. So what we're asking you is to think through how you can pay for about 8 meals. That's a rough estimate, but if this is a problem, let us know. We'll cover all those meals for you. But we'll be eating at those kind of places. So for when kids need to, it'll be more of that sort of like what a food truck costs or what a concession stand costs. So I think $20 or less probably for each meal. And so my suggestion is, because a lot of things are going money, so like the Smoothie King is it's cashless, right? Is to think about doing the green light cards or talk to your local bank. They oftentimes have debit cards that they issue for kids, and start to think through that. You can do some gift cards. Those don't always function in food trucks, right? So you want probably something that's tied to a banking system. If you really are struggling on finding something, the LCA, Federal Credit Union that we have can set you up with something, but I'm not here to push a bank. And so I want you to do it now. Yeah.
I was just gonna say on the banking piece, just some, my day job. I would say the best thing is to be cardless and connect your debit card to, and have a digital wallet.
Yeah.
So whether Samsung Pay, Apple Pay, that's my opinion.
Yeah.
And then not have to do with a card, because our kids never let their phones out of their sight.
Right.
And the phone is actually the most secure
Yeah.
thing, and then they can just tap to pay.
Yeah. And that I think works at a lot of sites. The struggle sometimes is that, and I'll double check this. I'll see if Smoothie King and some of those places, sometimes they're not yet even there yet on the tap to pay. I can't believe Kroger doesn't do that, right? Like, so yes, I think that that's helpful. maybe
Have their
even
debit card, but maybe it's.
having it
back
to,
in their
yeah, having
luggage,
to is a
pull
good
it out
idea,
when needed,
right?
But if they can just tap with their phone.
Yep.
Maybe that's a phone call we can find out.
Yeah.
From the Smoothie King Center.
Yeah, I'll see if they are doing Apple or Samsung Pay or Android Pay or whatever it is. But yes, yeah, having two methods there is a good idea, having a card that's secured and, you know, that sort of thing. So I want you to start thinking about how you do that, right? For your kid. If it becomes a struggle, if they lose all their stuff, don't worry. We certainly will cover them. Like, they're not gonna go hungry. I'm not gonna let kids go out, but you'll need to think about that and talk about that with your own kid. Every family kind of has a different thing. So you got 8 meals. If they want to buy a shirt or souvenirs while they're out there, that's the sort of thing that you want to talk through about how much that looks like for your kids. $5 US in cold hard cash. Please bring that along. I'll be getting the tips for the hotel room, so you don't need to worry about that. And I'll just give it to each of the room captains every night to leave in their room. So you don't need to worry about the tips for the rooms. But
Did
yes.
we raise enough money for the whole trip, or was there anything
Nope,
else
yep.
that was left?
We're good to go on the trip. Yep, we raised $27,000. So thanks for all your work on that and making that happen. I think is going to set a precedent that we're going to be able to do different kind of trips because we were able to raise money for this. So we're very grateful. I've also had at least 3 people come up and ask me, are you short?
Yeah.
Just let me know the number and I'll cover the number. So there's a lot of support here for the youth and for this trip. So yeah.
Just a note for anybody whose kids have the green light card, because we figured this out last year when she went to DC.
Mhm.
Make sure they know the PIN number, because she can tap anywhere in Columbus, but when she was in another state, it made her put the PIN number in, and she was calling me at a food truck. She couldn't get her lunch, and we were trying to set up a PIN for her on my end. But I also linked my credit card to her Apple Wallet so that she had a backup in case, because most places will, but there's still places even around town that they can't use their green light card. I don't know why, but it just doesn't
It's
work.
good to have a backup on this stuff, and it's still an evolving world around this, but just to think through it. And if you want to send your kid with all cash still is accepted in every place with Smoothie King Center and like mostly stadiums now, like you can't bring it to those spaces. That's fine. I can certainly purchase things for them and they can give me cash, or we can figure it out. I'm not gonna worry about that. But what I'm hoping is that you all talk about it with your kids, get it worked out, and we'll navigate that. Yes, Steve.
I think I know the answer to this, but the youth gathering has like a souvenir, like gift shop, where you can get youth gathering themed
Oh, yeah.
shirts and
In a
whatever.
place, right, where we can add a gift shop in, yeah.
For sure.
And those are also available online, like, that's
Okay,
the
that's
other
my
thing,
follow-up
right?
question.
So
Okay.
there's Old Lutheran provides all that stuff.
Okay.
And so it's not like a rock concert where you can only get this shirt at the concert, right? They kind of try to do that with an exclusivity. Now you can get everything online.
So if there's something they want, they couldn't get there, go online.
More than likely.
Okay.
I mean, some will sell out like anything else, but more than likely, yeah.
And then they'll also have opportunities for New Orleans themed souvenirs. Oh, okay.
Yep, we'll stop at a shop for them to get their stuff. Even though I am opposed to that, I got read the riot act a couple years ago in Mississippi. I wanted two of the participants about how I didn't understand Okay, fine, we'll stop. You have 10 minutes, go. So that's where I'm at on that. We're not spending all day and we're only going to one. Like, it's like, let's get this navigated out. This isn't why we're here. We've got other things to do. So that's that. That's around money. If you have any individual questions, I'm more than happy to talk with you about how that works for you. Know that we will have money. I will have money. Kaylee will have money. If you want to send your PIN along, if you're worried about that, so you don't have to deal with all the phone calls, I would be more than happy to store that in a safe space in my phone so that I can answer the question. If if you're worried that I'm gonna steal the green light card and take it all over the place and use the pin, that's fine too, and don't want to do that. However you want to handle that, everybody does it individually. And I just want you to feel safe and comfortable with that. But outside of making poor decisions, we always have a kid that goes on and like, we'll stop at Buc-ee's and they'll come onto the vans and be like, look, Pastor Tim, I have $50 worth of beef jerky, right? It's like, okay, how's that gonna work for you? Then we have some money conversations. They'll always be fed, right? I'm not buying them a souvenir. That's a learning experience, but I will always make sure that they're fed. They will always have enough food along with them. So, yes.
Is any of the event live streamed? Like the evening?
I don't know if they're doing that this year. They haven't really advertised it, but if it is, yeah, you'll see it. So. All right. So we talked about service money. Housing, we talked a little bit about that. We'll be in a hotel. We already talked about that. Electronics policy, we are not responsible at all for any electronics that are taken along. You can choose whether or not they are not required to bring their phones. If they want to bring their phones, that's fine. I just say this because those phones are worth a lot of money and I don't want to be responsible if something happens to them or get blamed for it, right? If you think that's going to happen, just leave it at home. We'll take their pictures that they want and send them to you and we can navigate that. But we are on long road trips and they oftentimes want their phones along with them for those road trips. I think that's an understandable statement. We try to get them to interact as much as they can. It becomes like all the things, right? If it becomes a problem, we'll address it. It's usually not. Actually, kids are really good with their phones typically. We ask them just to put them away, leave them in the hotel. They're good about doing that. So kids are kind of more digital natives in this rent land. But when it's downtime or more bored or whatever, now, we'll play games and stuff like that too, but they can bring their phones along. We're just not in charge of it. They ask that no other things, though. No digital cameras, no cameras along with, like, I don't know why, but they don't want any of that stuff along.
Wait, no cameras?
They didn't want any cameras. I actually had a whole camera policy on here, and Kaylee said they're requesting no cameras.
So
So,
you can have a camera on your phone, but not a separate camera.
right.
Interesting.
And they can only, there's the obvious thing, they can't use the camera when it's in their hotel room, right? There's no pictures allowed in the hotel room, so that sort of thing. But they can't take even like a digital camera. Don't know why. Yeah.
So we're taking vans down, so it's not like a big bus where you have chargers to charge your phone.
Right. Yep, they always, so if you want to bring a little block thing or let their phones die, it's fine by me. But then they're always, Pastor Tim, can I get the aux cord up there? Pastor Tim, can I get into the, they always want the access into, and some of the newer vans actually are pretty good about this. They do have
couple
USBs,
ports.
yeah,
Yeah.
in them. I don't know what we get because we just rent them from Enterprise.
But I will tell you, just because I did this with Enterprise, Grant took a bunch of buddies down to Kings Island.
Yeah.
Me and Maria drove 12 16-year-old boys to Kings Island.
There you go.
There was a 15 passenger
Yep,
van.
that's what we
There
get.
was no ports short of what was in the front.
Yeah.
So what I bought was, there was an adapter and then it had like an octopus with multiple things coming off, and some of them had Apple, some had Samsung.
Sure.
So we had 2 of those plugged and the boys had cables going.
Yeah.
It looked weird.
Goes to the cigarette lighter,
They
right?
couldn't make it an hour and a half down to Mason.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Make it to New Orleans.
It'll be okay. So the going home policy goes like this. This is the same one that I have everywhere. This one ties in with the drug and alcohol policy of the gathering. I can't change that. The gathering, when we're there, they get caught with drugs, alcohol, tobacco, weapons, or like there's one other thing. They're done. No, 0 strikes on that one. They send them home. I think For me, I do a 3-strike policy. You know, first night we get there, I have a grace bag. It's just a black garbage bag, and I say, hey, we all make mistakes. Some of us brought something along on this. If it goes into this bag tonight, I throw the bag away. Nothing happens, right? Because we've all been there and been stupid once and packed something we thought would be either funny or fun, and then realize when we're on the trip, how are we going to get rid of this? And so this is their opportunity. It's called the grace bag, and they can get rid of it. After that grace bag, we don't have that that luxury anymore. So if they're disruptive or if they have things, we will call you or I will talk to them first. That's first strike. Second strike, I'm going to be on the phone with you, and then I'm going to hand the phone to them and hopefully watch the fear of God roll through those waves into them, right? And then the third strike will ask you to arrange transportation to get them home, right? So there is a airline. Most airlines will get them from here to there, but that's how we operate. We try to give them as many shots, as many chances. But if it's becoming an issue, or they're being, disruptive in a really, really negative way, we can't have that for the whole group. Now, I've never had to send a kid home. I've done this my 15th trip. Never had to send a kid home. I have gotten to strike 2 before. And so just so you're aware, like it's usually never going to be a problem. But if you could do me a favor by checking the bags before they leave the houses, you could help pack or any of that sort of stuff. I doubt we're going to have anything. We have great kids. I just have to say it because that way when I give you the call, then you understand we're all on the same page here. And there's no reason, I would rather not send a kid home. I'll do everything not to send a kid home. I want them to be there. I want them to experience it. I know if I've had a kid that wanted to get sent home, and good news, he got to stay with me the whole time. So I've had pretty much the whole gamut. And I will do everything to keep them there. I think the experience is good for them. And so they'll be safe and they'll be good. Lastly, it's not on here, but what we will do still, and if you've been on a mission trip with me before, we have what's called mail call night. So mail call night is the opportunity for you to write a letter. You can write, our goal is not to get 15 letters, but if you have if each of you, each of the parents, or if a grandparent wants to write a letter, or sibling, let's try to keep it I don't want to hand a stack of mail, here, read 15 letters, but this is an opportunity for you to tell them how proud of you are, tell them, an encouraging note. We're proud of you for doing this. We love you. We care about you. We see this sort of thing in you. We're excited for you to come home and share with us. All those types of things are great. Think of it as an encouraging letter. You can look online if you're curious about finding prompts about what to write in something like this, but feel free to write as much as you can. The kids find it very meaningful. It's fun to see them get their letters. They're all going to wait for it. And so, we try, most kids will know that this is coming, but not every kid. I try to keep it kind of as a surprise for one of the nights. We do mail call night, and they get the opportunity to kind of go out and read their letters on their own. So it's kind of a fun.
When should we have all the letters to you?
So if you could deliver them before we leave, so before that Sunday, you just put them in my box, discreet, and put them in that box. So I'll follow up as we get closer if I don't have the letters. So you can get them to me anytime starting today, all the way through. And that's, again, something a little fun that we do. I think the kids find it very meaningful. So. All right. So I think I have navigated through all of the specifics that we have on this list. Are there any other questions that you brought to this meeting that you didn't get answered that we could talk through? Happy to again answer. My cell phone is on here. my encouragement to you is if you're gonna drive around and you don't have my cell phone already in your phone, you're not gonna be wanting to look for this paper or try to find the email that I sent with. Just go ahead and log it in there as Pastor Tim. You wanna put Pastor Tim on there because when you're sending your email or your funny memes out to your other friend that's named Tim, you don't wanna have to then come back and say, oh, that wasn't meant for you. That was meant for the other Tim in my phone. So Pastor Tim is really good, harder to confuse on Apple, but put it in there so that you already have it wherever you're at. It's already in your phone, and you can just use that then. Anything that you guys wanted to share to add in?
They're each getting water bottles. They have been given them. They do need to be washed and cleaned and rinsed out. They also have been given stickers that we found each represented them. So I invite you to talk about that with them and have conversations around why we said we chose it. And just make sure they get brought back when we leave on Sunday, the 14th. So.
Yeah. All right. I want to again just emphasize thank you for entrusting your kids to us. We know how important they are to you. We hope that I just got done with the kid-free week. They were at camp. It was like one of the best weeks of my life. I love my kids, but when we went out to eat at 8:00, we watched a movie in the middle of the week. It was nuts. I hope that you get a little time to do some fun things while we have your kids doing fun things as well. I'm gonna try to find it. There's a debrief sheet. And so you should think through how you're gonna debrief the whole trip, right? And maybe set some time aside. It's a great opportunity to go out for a meal, out for a coffee, and just let the kids talk, right? Is the majority of it. And just kind of get out of the regular space and these kind of open-ended questions that you can have them debrief. So just kind of put that in your schedule for after we get back. When's a great day to do that? Where you'll have the mental capacity to listen, and they'll want to share a lot about what they've experienced, or about the homeless guy that they saw that was, shooting up heroin. That happened one time. That was fun. So I had that in Toronto. Every parent was like, "So, heard you saw some drugs." Like, yeah, that was fun. We were walking down the street. Some guy shot up his heroin, right? Mainlined it. It was nuts. Craziest thing I've probably seen on a mission trip. So I knew that was going to be a fun debrief.
Are we supposed to sign this also?
Yes. If you haven't yet, there are sheets. We actually need those physical copies. I don't think we'll need any other physical copies. But for whatever reason, the gathering wants us to have physical copies. We'll make a copy so we'll have the original. There'll be a copy that stays at the church, copy that stays with us, and then we'll give the originals to the gathering. So
The kids also had to sign this form too.
yeah, it's kind of like a covenant.
If anybody doesn't want a Greenlight card or needs a high school checking account, that's something I specialize in. I'd be happy to help you guys out. So just let me know.
Yep, there you go. Easy peasy. So, all right, that's all I have. Please let me know if you have any questions. Don't hesitate. Send me a text message. You have my phone number in your phone, or just give me a call or stop by. We can have more conversations about anything specifics that you're nervous about. But I've done, like I said, I've done 15 of these. I've taken hundreds of kids all over the United States, including New Orleans before. I'm very confident that we will have a great time with all your kids. Stop this recording.
Actually, I just thought of something. I don't anticipate it being a problem.